Hi there, this is Sazaho from Omnituts.com. Today I'm going to be starting a tutorial series on web development. So without further ado, let's get started. So what is web development? Well, web development is the process of programming and designing and publishing things for the web, such as websites, web apps, and such. Now, web development includes a wide variety of programming languages. But the basic things that we're going to be focusing on are creating web pages, which sort of narrows down the things that we need to learn to be fully capable web developers. So the first one that's the easiest is HTML. After that, we'll be learning CSS. And after that, we'll be learning JavaScript. This tutorial series will be split up into 3 sections: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So today I'm going to be starting the section on HTML, and the next few weeks we're going to be learning all about HTML, and hopefully by the end of this you'll be a HTML master. So welcome to this introduction to HTML, and let's get started. So what is HTML? So before you actually use HTML, you need to understand what HTML is. Now HTML actually stands for something. Now let's see what that is. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Now you'll see that the hypertext here is actually in the style that default link on a web page that you see is. Now this is because it's symbolizing what hypertext actually is. Because hypertext is any object, preferably text, hence the name hypertext, that links to somewhere else. And in context with the web, it links to another section of the web page, or another web page, or basically just links to another location on the web. And bear in mind that all these explanations that I'm going to give to you now are in context with the web, so just think that way. Next, we're going to take a look at markup. Markup is a set of tags that decide how a certain element is displayed. And by saying that, I mean that basically in our code, in our programmed code, we're going to have certain elements such as text, such as images, and tags are sort of going to be like tags you add to anything else, like a bag or anything, and it's basically going to set out some properties that tell the element exactly how it's going to show up in the web page. So that's what markup is. And language is pretty straightforward. It's a set of characters and sounds used for communication, but again, in context with the web, it's going to be a set of characters. So let's go ahead. How do we use HTML? HTML is used to create the basic structure and layout of a web page. Now, by basic, I mean just not much vertical, not much horizontal content. Basically, you're laying out the order in which stuff such as text, images, and such is going to appear on the page. It's just basic structure and layout, but not too much flexibility using the built-in tags in HTML. HTML is used for displaying the text of images, links, and more. And the more part is actually due to the new improvements that keep coming out due to updates to the actual language, which we're going to cover a bit later. And yeah, so HTML is used for displaying text, images, and links. And when I said basic structure, I actually meant it, because there are only simple attributes that can be used for modest, not advanced, but modest stylization of elements on your page. So that's what that's all about. So basically, you can, if you want to define like maybe a background color, a text color, or something simple like that, you can just define using a simple attribute. Again, it's only modest stylization, and when we get into the section about CSS, we're going to cover much more advanced stylization. So that's HTML. As new versions of HTML are released by the W3C, the W3C, for those of you who don't know, is the global organization that keeps track of international web standards. new functions are added to make the language more diverse. And one such example is the canvas tag in HTML5. And this is a really awesome tag because it allows you to draw animations, draw basically the shapes and images, and you can even make like little games, like stuff that follows your cursor around, and it's just a really good element. And you can look forward to many new functions to minimize the use of Flash, and allows you to be much more flexible with the way you use HTML. Okay, so now that we know what HTML is and how it's used, we know how to write and actually how to actually write the HTML. So, believe it or not, all you need to start writing HTML is a text editor. However, a text editor isn't something like Microsoft Office, Word, or Apple Pages now, because these software packages add unseen formatting to the text that we type, which in the long run isn't good for viewing the actual file that you're creating in the web browser. Something like Notepad on Windows or TextEdit on Mac OS X will suffice for the purposes of this tutorial series. Okay, so on Windows you can use Notepad, which I mentioned before. It's just simple text editor. You can just dive right in there and start writing the HTML that we're going to teach you. However, if you want to push yourself a bit further and want better functionality like color-coded syntax, some foldable code, auto-completion, and you want to basically enhance your workflow and you want to get into HTML and CSS and JavaScript programming as a professional, I recommend going ahead and download a free program called Notepad++. It's available free online, just Google it. I'm sure you can find the download link. And yeah, these are the two applications that I recommend for starters and intermediate users on Windows. Moving on to Macintosh. Now on Macintosh, there's a preloaded app called TextEdit, which you can use, and it's fine. However, if you want to use TextEdit for Mac, you want to change a few options, and this option would be for when you open up the document, you want to go to Format, then you want to click on Plain Text. You'll see here it also has a shortcut key, and yeah, just click on Make Plain Text, and you'll see the formatting bar disappear, and then you can just start typing in the HTML. And if you want to push your workflow a bit further, like on Windows, you can use Text Wrangler, which is another free application that you can download online, and I highly recommend it if you're just if you want to go beyond the restrictions that TextEdit places upon the way you write HTML. Text Wrangler is built for programming, and it's just a great app if you're an intermediate user for HTML and you want to get into writing HTML and CSS and JavaScript professionally. So that's the stuff that's used on the Macintosh. Now the recommended application is Sublime Text 2. Now this is a really popular application. You can download it online. And many professional web developers and even beginner developers use this application because of various functionalities. You can just Google this app and you can just go to the website and find out a lot more. This is paid. I think it's about $40. I'm not sure, but there is an unlimited trial where you can just keep trying out the application. I think there are a few limited features because I've actually used the unlimited trial to just see how the workflow is, and I can tell you that it's a really great app if you just want to write your code and not get distracted by unwanted typos and having to complete the tags, and if you want color coding and if you want to be easily be able to navigate your document. It's just a great app for those purposes, and I highly recommend you go download it if you want to get professional about this. However, even though I've given lots of great reviews to this just now, I don't actually use it for my actual work. The app that I use is called Chocolat. Now, yes, that's real app, Chocolat. You can just Google it, Chocolat Text Editor, and you can find their website. And if you go ahead and check out the features, it's got beautiful interface, and it's got color coded syntax and foldable code, auto completion, live previews, you name it. It's got lots of great functionality for web developers, and this is another app that I recommend. However, it might be a bit awkward for some people, but hey, if you're willing to try something new, I'm sure it'll be beneficial towards your workflow. And yeah, that's what I use. And the great thing about Sublime Text too, and Chocolat, is that you can either use them as plain text editors, as in you can just type in things and save them as rich text files, or you can change to programming languages. And there's a huge variety available, such as ActionScript, AppleScript, um, C, Java, C++, PHP, JavaScript, Java. You have a huge variety, and I'm not kidding here. So I highly recommend you go ahead and download Sublime Text or Chocolat or any other actual application that you prefer. Um, you can just Google it and do some research on this, but you can use the apps that I've recommended as well. So we've covered quite a bit, not too much in this tutorial. So let's just take a look at what we've learned. We've learned what HTML actually is. We've learned how HTML is utilized. We also learned what you need to actually start writing the HTML, which is what we'll be covering in the next few tutorials. So we've just got an introduction to HTML, and we've gotten familiar with what HTML actually is, what you use to write HTML, and a few basic things like that. So once again, guys, this has been Saad Zahur from Omnituts.com, and I'll see you guys in the next HTML tutorial. See you soon. Bye.